Hello my YouTube beauties and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another Wear Test Wednesday on this CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made foundation. This is all the rage right now. Although this foundation already has a lot of videos reviewing it, I have not seen any of them. So I'm going into this blind and I'm very excited because, as you guys know, I have oily skin. This is a matte foundation and I'm very excited to see if it actually keeps me matte throughout the day, if it doesn't look cakey. Those are kind of my two biggest things when I'm looking at a matte foundation. So if you guys are new here to my channel, every Wednesday I do a Wear Test Wednesday where I do a first impression of a different foundation. Before you leave, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my future videos. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. First, I want to talk a little bit about the foundation before we jump into actually trying it out. So there are 40 shades. This was $11.49 at Walgreens. I have the shade L40 Classic Ivory. It has 1 ounce of product, which is standard. Online, it says that it creates a strong yet flexible film on the skin for durability and comfort, absorbs oil and minimizes pores for a soft matte flawless finish. It doesn't feel like you're wearing foundation, it's transfer proof, and it's up to 12 hours of wear. So as always, I'm going to do half of my face with a beauty blender and half of my face with a brush, and I'm also going to apply a little bit of my favorite primer to one side of my face to see if that makes any difference with it applying onto my skin. Alright, so I'm going to take the foundation and take it on the back of my pan. It actually does have a pump, which is super nice. Oh, sneaky. So you can actually twist this pump and it does lock. It will not pump out any foundation, but if you spin it, it will start to pump the foundation. Is this going to match me? We shall try. First, I'm going to take a beauty blender. I'm going to go on this side of my face with the primer. I think it's gonna match me. I was surprised to see a CoverGirl foundation be this expensive. I feel like the drugstore is making their products much more expensive than they used to be. So it's going on really nicely with a sponge. You can definitely still see some of my issues right here. It's going on really nicely with the sponge. I can still see a lot of my acne right here and my texture. It's looking a little weird. Right on my cheek area where I do have a little bit of texture, I feel like it's kind of emphasizing it. So I put 2 pumps on this side of my face and it's definitely not full coverage. I can still see my spots right here. I don't know what's happening on my cheek. It's looking weird, like it's not sitting normal on it. But I'm gonna take a brush for this side of my face, that much more, and put it on this side. Alright, let me look closer at the mirror because I just don't know like how this is sitting on my skin. It looks very dewy off the bat. Like, do you see that dew on my skin? I don't know if I'm liking how it looks right now. I feel like it looks kind of heavy. It should be setting down to kind of like a powder finish if it's this like comfort matte formula. I'm going over everything with a beauty blender just to make it look even. Alright, so here's my skin up close. This is the side with a sponge, and then this is the side with a brush. So right now it is, oh gosh, 10:22, and I'm gonna go finish the rest of my makeup, see if this looks any better with other products on top of it, and I'll be right back. Here's what my skin is looking like after I have applied the rest of my makeup. I definitely think that the powder and other products that I used helped to minimize the texture that I was seeing, but I still see like texture on my forehead, which normally I don't have a lot of texture on my forehead. I could see these like little bumps right here. So it's a little weird that it's doing that, but the rest of my face looks okay. I'm happy with how it's looking. I do think it's oxidizing a little bit. It definitely went on lighter than what it's looking like now. Right now it's 10:35. I'm going to do a 10-hour wear test of this foundation, but here's what my skin is looking like. Oh yeah, it's definitely oxidized. I'm just kind of like in the middle right now. If it stays looking like this, I'm gonna like this foundation. If it goes downhill, gets super oily, feels really heavy on the skin throughout the day, and looks really cakey, I'm just not gonna enjoy this foundation. But it does feel like kind of lightweight on my skin. It says that you can't even feel it I can feel this on my skin, but it's not as heavy as some of my other foundations that I have in terms of like how much I can feel it on my skin. It is still more of a lightweight foundation. I think I build it up to about medium coverage at this point. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the middle right now. So let me go throughout my day and see what my thoughts are at the end of the day. I am going to get my lash extensions taken off, so I'm gonna look a little different at the end of the video than I will right now. Hopefully my lashes don't look horrible like they normally do when I get lash extensions taken off, and we will come back at the end of the day and see how this foundation held up. It is officially the end of the night. It is 10:07. I've almost had this foundation on for 12 hours, which is actually some of the claims of this foundation says that it holds up to 12 hours. I'm really putting that to the test here. Here's what my skin is looking like at the almost 12-hour mark, and while I am a bit oily, I think that this held up surprisingly well throughout the day. Oh, by the way, I took my lash extensions off, so that's why I have these short stubby things right here. For this being a drugstore foundation and for claiming that it's transfer proof, I actually think that this is one of the first foundations that actually does what it claims to do in that arena. While I was getting my lash extensions taken off today, my hairdresser had her hands on my forehead a lot and like resting on my cheek and that kind of thing. And I was really concerned that the foundation was going to just wipe right off, but it did an amazing job at holding up on my skin. I didn't have to touch up after we were done with taking off the eyelash extensions. I was very pleasantly surprised with how much this foundation stayed on, even with someone constantly touching my face. So I really love that about this foundation. I am a bit oily, like on my chin, I am just like a disco ball on my chin right now, which is not different than how other foundations wear on me. I just get really oily on my chin and around my nose right here. I'm definitely oily. On my forehead, it's not as bad, but one thing I did notice that happened on my forehead was it really sunk into my lines right here. I always have foundation sinking into these lines. No matter what I do, they sink there. I don't know how to fix it. Even though the foundation sunk into my forehead wrinkles right there, I didn't think that it looked super cakey while doing that. Sometimes there are foundations that I wear that sink into my lines and make it look super heavy and really, really cakey, and I didn't notice that with this foundation. I think my cheeks look really good, and while I am a little bit oily, it's not too bad. I mean, I've wore this foundation all day long for almost 12 hours. At this point, it's 20 minutes and we'll be at a 12-hour mark. For wearing this foundation for 12 hours and having it be a drugstore foundation, I would say that if you have oily skin, I would definitely try this out because I think this is one that really can help keep you matte most of the day and also look more natural and not look super cakey. When I first applied this foundation, I thought that it made my skin texture look really weird, and while it still kind of emphasizes the texture on my skin, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be, especially setting my face and that kind of thing. It helped a lot with that. To me, that's like a minor thing I can overlook because I really like how the foundation wore and I'm comfortable wearing this on my skin for a long period of time. It's not something I can say about every single foundation. So if you have not tried out this foundation, I would say go give it a try, especially if you have oily skin. I think you will really like it. It was comfortable to wear throughout the day. I didn't really notice it on my skin, and I was just really, really surprised with how well this stayed on my skin and how transfer proof it was. This foundation gets a big thumbs up for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!